What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Schneid. We're just drafting tonight, so we're not going to talk too much, about nonsense or anything. We're not gonna dig anything today. That will be coming up soon, shortly. I do want to revisit the rookie talk and the rookie rankings. Wrapping that up right now. It's we're in a weird time on the Twitter machine where it's just ridiculousness. It's just nonsense after nonsense getting spit out there right now. But it's the off season. It's that time of year. It is what it is. That's why I like to do these shows where we actually explore some of these theories that people throw out there. Is it possible? Is it doable? Does it make sense? Is it absolute nonsense? I think people should think before they or look into stuff, read into stuff. It's one of my biggest pet peeves by a long shot is some of the things you see out there that is just absolute nonsense. But it is what it is. Love it or hate it. That's how she goes. But let's jump in. Like I said, we're just going to draft tonight. We're going to do 2 drafts for sure. I do need to catch up a little bit. I'm a little perturbed, little butthurt about missing my last entry into the war room. So the last 20% filled super quick in the war room. I wanted to do a fast draft. I didn't want to do another slow. I did 2 fast, 2 slows or something like that, or one slow, 2 fast, whatever. I can't remember what I did. I had one more bullet and I missed out on it because I kind of forgot and I didn't expect it to fill as quick as it did the last 20% or whatever it was. So that was kind of frustrating, but whatever. Not the end of the world. I'm still going to max everything else out. I'm pretty much on pace with the little board. 24 remaining, and we are 56. So I'm right on pace with the little board, which is good, but I'm behind on the big board. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight for sure. Is a couple big boards. I'd like to be at 50 right now. So I'd like to get there as quick as I can. Basically, by the time it gets to a third full, 33%, I want to be a third done my draft sort of thing. But I am waiting for the combine. But I do want to get some value while we're at it until the combine happens. And I think if you guys rise from there, but let's jump into a big board. If you want to get in, jump in. If you're in the chat, let me know. We're waiting on 6. So there's tons of room, tons of space. And I'm hoping, I don't know, I'd like to get more Jamar Chase. That's for sure. We'll see the exposures pop up in a second in just the big board tournaments. So I do want to focus on that now that I'm, as many drafts in as I am. I only want to focus on each tournament as, its own kind of pod or entity, if you will. So, yeah, that's what I really want to focus on, especially in the war room, the bigger board, the biggest board, those types of things where you might only get one share of certain players. That's kind of what I want to focus on and make sure I'm getting at least a share in those tournaments of a guy that I like. So we'll see where it goes. We got Green Bean in there. We've got Toast 0420, which is what was your name? Definitely Dennis was your name before, I think, right? New username. I drafted with him the other day. Peasy, B Wakey, something like that. I've seen a few of these names before for sure, but in the chat we probably have Green Bean and Toast 0420. What's that name, by the way? Definitely Dennis. What does that mean? Toast 0420 420. I think I can figure out, but what does that mean? It's an interesting name. It's funny. I like it. Let's click the ADPs. As you can see, let's zoom in so we can get a better look at this. There we go. So you get a good look at everything. We're on the clock. Give me a second here. You can see my Barkley shares 0 so far. I'm fading. Let's get a little bit different before we get into that. Let's get a little bit different and go Bijan here. I do want the reason why I'm not really too worried about Bijan is I don't see him rising. I don't see the need in drafting certain players when others are going to rise. I've talked about it a lot on the show. Tyreek Hill is one of those guys where I think he's absolutely going to rise up the draft board. So I want to get as many shares as I can right now. Same thing with CeeDee Lamb, 30%, 26% total. I think CeeDee Lamb he could be the 101, the 1, 2, 3, whatever. So I'm picking him there because I think he will rise. I really do. I've been picking him second overall, third overall, no problem. First overall, I'm taking Chase every single time, but then it's pretty much CeeDee Lamb, and I'm going to be soft fading Barkley unless he falls. Look at the stats around the running back that has led the league in touches. The next season, the best finish is like RB12 in the last 10 years. It's pretty big sample size. And I definitely feel that. I definitely believe in that. It's a lot of touches, and that doesn't include the playoffs for a team that went to the Super Bowl, right? Those touches don't include the playoffs or the Super Bowl. So I'm not taking Saquon Barkley second overall. I'm just not, man. I'm just not. I'll take him fifth, sixth for sure. Fourth is even tough for me to stomach if I'm being honest. And the thing with Barkley is you should be able to get your shares whenever you need to or want to. I just think there's better options at 2, 3, 4. CeeDee Lamb being in there, Bijan at times. I actually think Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, you could throw in there. I just think there's better options than Barkley, considering what he has to do to finish, to pay off the ADP. A couple hellos. We got, Toast 420. How are you? Good to see you. Green Beans in the chat, in the draft as well. Good to see you. PPR Tyler, watched the stream earlier today, 26 or whatever it was, 25 or 26 days straight live streaming, which is pretty awesome. Well done. And go Team Canada. Tomorrow's going to be a really, really fun game. So that was a big reason why, I needed to stream tonight anyways, but I will not be streaming tomorrow. I'm going to be watching that game pretty intently. And then most likely we'll do a stream again on Friday night. If you're not familiar, watch the Four Nations final, Canada, USA. 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of the game that they played a few days ago, last week. It's going to be a good one. Rematch for all the marbles sort of thing. It's going to be a fun game. If you don't like hockey, you're not into it, give it a shot. This is the type of game where you want to give it a shot and see if you kind of like the game or if it's fun, whatever. I'm sure you'll like it. So did Tyreek go early? He did. I like that. That's something I'm all about. We're going to go Bijan. I want one of these wide receivers and Breece Hall is what I really want. Then let's just take Breece Hall, I guess. And then I will take one of these wide receivers. Hopefully this guy doesn't take both. I probably would if I were him. But maybe he drafts more along the lines of ADP. As you can see, not a big Josh Jacobs drafter, not a big Bucky Irving drafter, and 0% T. Higgins. There we go. I'm going to get one of these. I'm going to get one of these wide receivers, my pick of the litter. Interesting. Let's go Terry McLaurin. My JSN bags are pretty packed. Let's go Terry McLaurin. A little different. This is definitely a little different. Stopping in to say howdy. Good to see you. Tyler, Emo Cowboy, thanks for popping in. In the next couple episodes, the next couple streams, within the next couple streams, I should say, maybe when I get to, 40 or something like that, 40 big boards, I'll do a quick exposure kind of reveal and just show and go over and some takes on some of the players. I'm definitely sticking to my guns more so than I did last year, and I was pretty hard firm last year too. Typically with certain guys, I'm always pretty hard and fast with my takes, and I just won't bend. And as long as I'm right more often than I'm wrong, then I think it works out. Very firm when I expose myself. Very firm. That's a prereq if you're going to expose yourself. But yeah, I'm definitely pretty firm with my takes. And it's going to be my exposure is going to be pretty high. There's going to be some. I don't think I'll have any 50% exposures when it's all said and done, but definitely 30 to 40% when I'm through 150 big boards. So we'll get into it a little bit more. Ashton Genty is one that I'm just not doing unless he starts to fall into at least. I guess I'll slow it down and move it into the 20s, which is later than he's going. It's later than his ADP, and I probably won't get much of him there. But there's just a lot of spots where he could go. That let's say he goes to the. Let's throw out a scenario here. The Dallas Cowboys trade for Myles Garrett. They have the 12th overall pick. They trade that to the Cleveland Browns. And then the Cleveland Browns draft Ashton Genty at 12. Let's say the Bears get him and he's splitting with DeAndre Swift a little bit. Let's say, what if the Giants select Ashton Genty? Right? Like there's a lot of places that he could go that he's really going to have a hard time paying off this ADP. So that's kind of where I'm at with Genty. It's similar to Marvin Harrison Jr. And if you're watching this show last year, it was a 0% drafter through the big board and Best Ball Mania over the summer. I was a 0% exposure to Marvin Harrison Jr. And honestly, that very much worked out for me. Very, very much. And I would draft Genty over, like in the same situation in a vacuum. It was, if let's say Ashton Genty was getting drafted last year, I would draft Genty over Marvin Harrison, if that makes sense. I just have a hard time. I would rather draft a running back in that situation, I guess is what I'm saying, over a wide receiver in the same situation. So I just think he's going too high. I really, really do. I think Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall should go probably ahead of him. Like, I get it. I draft, using ADP as my kind of primary director as well. But I just have a hard time clicking his name over some of these wide receivers. Devon Achane, Derrick Henry, I'm clicking over Ashton Genty, Drake London, Tyreek Hill. That's pretty much it. But yeah, it's pretty. I just have a hard time with it, especially with the other rookies that are going way later in drafts. Like, to me, I like Trevion Henderson more than Ashton Genty, just as a player. And if I can get him 50 picks later, yeah, I mean, my bags are fully packed with Trevion Henderson shares, as you probably know, but we'll dig into it more once we get into the exposure talk another day. I might bring up Joe Burrow here, which is weird, but I want to get a little bit different. And I'm going to steal him from the Jamar Chase drafter, which you might not like, but I don't really care. And that's a little bit of there's a lot of discourse right now about the value of Joe Burrow at that ADP. So 381 fantasy points last year, right? Jalen Hurts had 320. So he had 60 more points. Do we expect the same thing to happen? Blah, blah, blah. Kind of, yeah. Like, as a massive Bengals fan, I don't think that their defense is going to get exponentially better in the next, few months over the draft and free agency. I really don't think that they can get that much better where it's going to just be fine. This is a weird spot. I don't really like. I really wanted DK Metcalf, but I guess I should have just taken him. Let's bring in Kenny Walker. This is a weird start. But I like it, actually. I like to mix in some different starts very, very intentionally. I can definitely stop at 5 running backs. And I just really, this is another strategy that I was hot and heavy on last year in this same tournament in the big board. And I did very well in this tournament. I was drafting a ton of running backs early, going tight end premium, quarterback premium, running backs, and then I was just pissing yellow to end the draft. And it really worked out. I still think that there's just so much value at the end of drafts at wide receiver, especially with a lot of rookies pre-combine, and then a bunch of free agent wide receivers that are out there, and just value where people think they're going to be replaced. I'm not really sure what it is. They just don't like certain guys. I don't really know what it is, but I'm going to get back to zigging where other people are zagging on this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I'm going to get back to like stuff like this is a little aggressive, I suppose, but the 12 spot here, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson, Jane Downs, not that. I'm certainly not going that far, and that is an interesting build, but more along the lines of what I've done here. I'm going to try to get back to doing some of this. Not that that's going to be like my hard, fast, firm, like my firm, hard and fast takes. Like I'm not going to just, shift my entire strategy, but I do want some builds like this. And I can still get tons of stacks with this start. Like anyone that thinks that you're basically boxed out of stacking is it's a little silly. There's tons of room to maneuver. Green Bean brings up Trevion Henderson. That's my guy. Never going to let me get him at 71. That's fair. He shouldn't go that far. I wouldn't take him in this case, to be honest with you, though, because obviously I'm pretty running back heavy here. I'm a huge believer in Kenny Walker. I know some people may not be, but I am very much a believer in Kenny Walker, especially with Clint Kubiak there. Garrett Wilson goes early. That's interesting. Like I said before, I'm trying to add some more Garrett Wilson. I just did it earlier today, actually. Garrett Wilson with Kirk Cousins. I think that's massively on the table. I'm trying to get ahead of the game on that one. And I have some realistic, logical reasons why. And if you want that take again, I can give you that one. I just think it's very, 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 very likely for that to happen. It just all adds up, if you ask me. But I can give you the math if you like. I might take Chris Godwin here, I guess, with the ADP slide. Does that make sense? I might do something a little different here too. That's, yeah, not necessarily different, but it is a little bit different. I do like Emeka Ibuka a lot, as we all know. Ridley goes, let's bring in, I'm not going to do that. Let's bring in Emeka Ibuka, my wide receiver 1. And then I'm going to do something that this is just my take. And my exposure will, reflect this take, as it always does. I don't say things that I'm not doing. Whenever I say that this is what I'm doing, this is my take, it reflects in my exposure. So I'm taking Ricky Pearsall over Brandon Ayuk and Jennings. Not that I like Pearsall as a player over Ayuk, but Ayuk has the injury issue. Obviously, there's that concern, especially early in the season. But Ricky Pearsall is just a better player than Juwan Jennings. And if you disagree, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe I should be taking Chris Godwin here, but I'm going to get unique with this draft. We got another draft after this, and we'll see what we do there. But Green Bean, I can't stop drafting Trevion and force myself off for a bit. But mid 30% feels too low at this point. Yeah, I'm what am I at? I think I'm at like mid 30s in this tournament and 40 something, or no, 27% in this tournament, 37% overall. And I've always been trying to bump him up. I'll take as much Trevion Henderson when he was going in the 70s. Like you could get him early 7th round. I was taking him every single time, literally every single time. If he fell to the 7th round, I would be drafting Trevion Henderson. You just drafted him in the 5th, which I think is fine. I think that's totally fine, especially at the end of the 5th round. But he's very comfortably going in the 6th round. If you can't get him in the 7th, if you do, auto click for me. But yeah, he's just the guy. In my opinion, he's just the guy at running back in this draft. Not that Genty, sorry, I should clarify. He's the guy in this draft at his price, at his cost. If Genty was going at the same cost as Trevion Henderson, much different conversation. Even if Genty's going in the 3rd, 4th, right? 3rd or 4th round, Ashton Genty, completely different conversation. But with Trevion Henderson going in the 7th, 6th, maybe ends up in the 5th, I will be so overweight on Trevion Henderson that it won't even be funny. But I mean, I'm not as, my exposure is not where I want it to be, if I'm being honest with you. But we'll see where it ends up. I'm definitely getting unique, like I said, with this team. Definitely getting unique. We'll take a look at Toast and Green Bean after the draft. We'll do a quick recap. Obviously, Toast going pretty 0 RB, which is fine. Like, this is a weird year that I don't even know if I would call that 0 RB. Like, your first running back in the 6th round. I think there's tons of value there too. Who's left? Like, Judkins is still there. Warren. I think Pacheco, when you can get him in the hundreds, I'm taking him. I'm the Huckleberry, like I've said, multiple times. I'm 37% in this tournament because he falls to pick 105, 103, and I'll take him there. I'll take him there every time. If I need running backs, which I typically do, I wouldn't in this. If he's there at 119, maybe I take him. But if I had the same start and he's there at 105, 108, whatever, I probably wouldn't be clicking his name because it just, doesn't make a ton of sense. 40% before I had to force test. I wouldn't stop at all. I personally, I mean, again, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm getting back to doing this year. I'm letting things creep in that I typically don't let creep in, as in other people's takes that I really don't like to do. If I'm wrong, I can deal with myself. Like I can answer to myself if I'm wrong. But if I let someone else's take influence my opinion, then I'm just gonna be pissed off at myself, right? Like then that's just on me. And I've known to blame but myself, right? So which is not that's not where I want to be. So I'm getting back to just kind of making my bed and lying in it. You know what I mean? I really no, I don't need to go down that road. Let's go Mark Andrews. If I can get him the end of the 8th round, little ADP slip. I'll take that. Match him up, I guess you could say maybe they play the Bengals in the fantasy playoffs. I don't mind that. I won't be taking Pacheco here, that's for sure, even though I do think it's a good spot to do it. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp most likely. No, okay, that's fine. Because I really wanted to go with Jordan Love here. So let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's bring in Jordan Love. This is an odd team. I can stop at 2 quarterbacks now, as in I 100% will. So I'm done at quarterback. And I'm going to get a little bit different. You could say I probably should have went with Brock Purdy there, but I think I have a plan. We'll see if it works out for me. But I think I have a plan. George Kittle and Jennings, Purdy drafters, happy to get him there. Yeah. Putt Daddy, what's happening? I don't really worry about player exposures. If he fits my team, I'm taking him, definitely. I respect that, but if I do that, I'll just end up drafting the same team. Yeah, 100%. Like, that is something that you have. Again, that's why I'm doing this right now. Like, that's literally why I'm doing this sort of thing. I've been doing a lot of drafts where I'm taking CeeDee Lamb, and even on stream, I've been doing it too much, if in my opinion, right? Like, I do want I want to be overexposed to CeeDee Lamb. I do. With where his price is and how you can backstack him with Dak, Ferguson, bringing some rookies, all that kind of stuff. I have a ton of that. So if I keep doing it at the 2, 3, right, maybe 4, right around here, if I keep, starting CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to end up with, like 20 of the same team, like almost literally, right? So I have to start changing it up, which is fine. Again, I'm 0% Justin Jefferson as it sits right now. That will not be the case by the end of this tournament. Of course it won't, right? He's just not going anywhere. And I think CeeDee Lamb could rise ahead of Justin Jefferson. So I can take as many shares as I want whenever I want of Justin Jefferson, realistically. If you can I'll take him in the 2 hole, right? I personally don't think that there is like an order of you take this player here, this player here, this player here, besides Jamar Chase. I'm taking Jamar Chase if I'm the 1-1 every single time. I'm taking him, right? But then at the 2, you can take realistically anyone you want. So I can bring Justin Jefferson up to the 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes we might get him at 6, right? So there's a lot of draft slots that I can take Justin Jefferson to get my shares up. The only thing I might regret, and this is something maybe I should start doing this right now, actually, and change it right now, is I want to be able to pair Justin Jefferson with Tyreek Hill. So that might change. So maybe I need to start just doing that and getting Justin Jefferson with Tyreek Hill. I don't like to stack Justin Jefferson because I'm not a big JJ McCarthy believer, if I'm being honest, but you don't have to. You definitely don't have to. So there you go. I will not be taking another quarterback at all. So that's off the table completely. I might slow down on Devin Neal. I'm not sure. I'm pretty packed up, 17% with 24% overall. Taking Tucker Kraft here. Pair him up with Jordan Love. And I've got Mark Andrews. I probably still will take a third tight end super, super late. I am going to not. Oh, did he go already? Jeez. Green Bean, you're killing me. I was going to take Trey Harris here. 125, and you pulled him up to the 110. I dig it. I'm quite okay with that. But I wanted to draft him here. That's annoying. Green Bean, man. That's 2. That's 2. You've done that to me. I guess I have to take a running back here. I really don't want to. I'm not taking Diggs. Pretty out on him. I could pull up Xavier Leggett. Let's do that. Let's bring in Xavier Leggett. I really wanted Trey Harris there. He's my number 2 wide receiver. Only because only because Travis Hunter is not committed to playing wide receiver. If Travis Hunter was saying he's a wide receiver, he's going to play wide receiver, he's committed to wide receiver, we'd be, it'd be a different story. Emeka Buka is my number 1 and Trey Harris is my number 2. We'll dig into that more when we get back to the rankings after the combine is when we're going to do that. I let other people talk me down on Chuba Hubbard last year, and it kills me to this day. I had 50% exposure at one time and ended up with like 18. Man, I had like 50% Chuba. I didn't care what anybody was saying. I was on stream in every draft. I would take Chuba Hubbard, no question, easy peasy. That was the easiest click on the board last year for me, especially in the big board. So yeah, I was fully packed on Chuba Hubbard last year. So there you go. That's what I'm like. And right now is the worst time. Right now is the absolute worst time to be on Twitter looking at people's, takes and whatever. Like it just listening to the nonsense, listening to the fodder, listening to the bullshit. There's a lot of content creators out there that are just, throwing shit at a wall, seeing what sticks, right? Like, so that's why I always say, listen to me, don't listen to me, do whatever the hell you want. Like, just stay true to your own takes and your own, rankings. Everybody should do their own research. Everyone should do their own, watch tape on these rookies, especially, right? And then develop your own takes and take it from there. And if you listen to people that you like and you respect and you they say some good stuff and they're right, keep the receipts, man. Like when I'm on Twitter, I bookmark the shit out of, if I see something that I think is ridiculous, I bookmark it. If I see something that I like and makes sense, I bookmark it. So one way or another. So either way, I bookmark people that I know I don't want to listen to. I don't like their takes. They say some stupid shit and I'm not going to listen to their takes, but I want to remember who they are, right? So I bookmark their stuff and then, I go through those. I go through my bookmarks to make sure, oh yeah, this guy says a bunch of dumb shit that I don't really need to listen to and don't want to, and I won't, like his content or absorb the content, right? And then there's, people that say really good stuff that I do follow and I do listen to and I do appreciate. So, build your own kind of narrative and kind of take it from there. That's what I always really push. They couldn't talk me out of having 53% Jonnu though. I wish I had more Jonnu. Yeah. But typically tight ends aren't what's going to like really crush, mind you, Jonnu was a pretty good piece last year. I didn't have nearly enough. That's for sure. But either way, yeah, that should be the real whole narrative of this episode is, do your own stuff, make your own takes. Just, yeah. Like Isaiah Bond, I saw somebody pushing Isaiah Bond today and it's like, what are we talking about, guys? I guess I could get, Hollywood here. I'm not the biggest Hollywood guy or fan, but it does make sense, with what I'm doing and what I can do here. So let's bring in Hollywood. I think he kind of has to sign another short-term deal with the Chiefs, I think is what makes the most sense for him. We'll see if it ends up happening, but that's what I think makes the most sense. I'm going to pull up a running back here that I think should have a lot more value than he does right now, and I really want to get more exposure to, and it's Jalen Wright. I really, really want to get my exposure up for sure. And this number tells me that I have to get him in the little board a lot more than I have him. So that's going to be my focus with my last half of my drafts. You could say it's a bad pick right now, but I think someone comes in at the very least to compete with Jerome Ford in Cleveland. Rachaad White is, a 1A, 1B. I think he's very similar to Jalen Wright, really. Dowdle, who knows? Corum is, injury dependent, basically. Ollie Gordon's a rookie. We don't know where he'll go. Ray Davis is the same or less potentially than Jalen Wright. So he has some room to move up. That's for sure. Might have been a bit of a reach, but we'll be all right. Candyman, Fan Football Garage, what's happening, man? Jalen Wright is good value. Yeah, I think so too. I think he should rise. I think For sure, give me Jalen Wright over Rico Dowdle. Easy, no question. Like in this range, give me Jalen Wright over Blake Corum for sure. So, yeah. Wright is going later than last year, and Mostert is gone. Yeah, exactly. Like it's that new shiny toy thing. So, again, like people are going to say that this is like fragile and not a good way to build and whatever, like the zero running back bros and all that kind of nonsense. But the reality is there's so much value everywhere because everyone wants the new. Like Ashton Genty, he should not be going there, in my opinion. Even Tet McMillan is going higher than I think he should go. And I have 0% exposure to Tet McMillan, 0% exposure to Ashton Genty. That's just my opinion on it. Could it be completely wrong? That's the other thing. I'm willing to admit I could be completely fucking wrong on these takes. Absolutely. But it worked out for me. Last year it's worked out for me more than I've gotten it wrong. So I'm going to stick hard and firm. Omarion Hampton, that's, I think that's a reach a little bit. I think he got pulled up in this draft, which is fine. Again, if you're, obviously this guy likes the rookies, pulled up Hampton, pulled up Sampson. Interesting. Not going to say you're wrong. That's for sure. And that's the other thing. I'll never say you're wrong. I might say I disagree, but at least give me some substance behind it. That's all I care about. If you disagree with something or you don't like a take or whatever, bring some substance. Yeah, that's all I ask. All I ask. And everybody does. Everyone does. I just disagree on Ted, and he played really well with a bad QB. You're not wrong. But where does he go? Okay. What's his ADP? 46. Okay. Which is where he went, I think. Yeah. What happens to Tet McMillan's ADP if he stays local and gets drafted by the Arizona Cardinals? What happens to his ADP? The problem with Tet McMillan is I don't necessarily agree with I don't think the talent. I don't think he's as talented. It's very similar. It's very similar for me. Tet McMillan versus Emeka Ibuka is very similar to Ashton Genty versus Trevion Henderson for me. That's like the same conversation, just different positions, right? Like I have Emeka Ibuka as a better overall wide receiver than Tet McMillan. So we don't know landing spot. Therefore, personally, I'm betting on the better talent. If you think Tet McMillan is better, absolutely take him. So, that's the kind of take that could burn me for sure. It could absolutely burn me, but I'm willing to face the music if that happens. I guess it is what it is. I draft with my own money, so I'm going to pay for it out of my own pocket if I am wrong. Xavier Restrepo makes tons of sense. I would like to probably bring in like a rookie as my fifth running back. Tyler Algier would not be a bad click here, but already Bijan, obviously. Not that doesn't work. That could still work. But I'm going to take Restrepo for sure. It'll fall, but I think it's just unlikely he goes to Arizona. Why do you think that? He's local kid. They need a wide receiver pretty bad. I think it makes tons of sense. He's being mocked there a lot. He's right in that range. I think they're 16 or something like that in the draft. They're right in the mid-teens. I think it's right in that range to draft a wide receiver. He's a local kid, big body guy. I think it would make a lot of sense to replace Michael Wilson with Tet McMillan. We're going to go Yoshivas here. Bring it in with my Joe Burrow. Where? Man. Where did Wicks go?  , 164. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, 64. 1, Okay, right on brand. That's fine. I guess I was hoping for him to drop a little bit. Has he risen? Has Dontavion Wicks risen up the board a little bit? I'm gonna have to adjust a little bit on that one, but that's okay. That is okay. Single stack with Jordan Love is what it's going to end up being. Not the end of the world. Arizona needs defense more. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The Cincinnati Bengals need defense more than anything, but that doesn't stop people from mocking tight end to the Bengals. So, I mean, in fairness, like I don't know the Arizona Cardinals as a franchise as like I do the Bengals. Obviously, I'm a huge Bengals fan, but I don't know. Like it's entirely feasible. They do need a wide receiver. Yeah, you could be on brand there. Hard to say. All I'm saying is like it's just and again, if you think he's that talented, don't let me talk you out of it. That's for damn sure. Don't let me talk you out of it. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. That's the whole theme. Now that we're talking this through and we're here, we're where we at. Where holy shit, we are where we are at now in the show. Jeez, that's the theme of the show. That's the theme of the show. Don't listen to anybody, to an extent. To an extent. As long as someone's willing to admit they're wrong, then go nuts. It's the people that, and there's a lot of it right now, and it's really bothering me. It's really bothering me, the people that are hard on their takes and just will not, bend or break on it. Drives me a little crazy. It really, really does. When what I always say is like every single NFL team, all 32 NFL teams are each one of them, every single one is a multi-billion-dollar business. Every single NFL team, right? Behind every single draft board that these NFL teams, build, all the money, how many millions of dollars are spent on their draft boards, right? Every single one of them. Shout out to Pat Kerwin on Moving the Chains on Sirius Satellite. Very experienced. He's a front office guy from the Jets, the Jets franchise. He used to run the draft, that sort of thing. He says every draft board is a fingerprint, right? It's like every draft is a snowflake, whatever you want to call it, right? Every draft board is unique. There are millions and millions of dollars goes into every single one. And these teams gets this shit wrong every single year. Every single year, these teams get stuff wrong. Every year. And we think that we know more. Like that is just like so asinine that it's wild that we'll like argue to the death about who's right about, X player, whatever it is. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. So that's the theme of the show tonight is don't let anyone, change your opinion. Stay true to what you think and then take it from there. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. Jaden Higgins is a guy. Look at this. Here we go. 0% across the board. I might be wrong on Jaden Higgins. And I'm gonna get a few shares. I saw some data recently that made me change my tune a little bit on Jaden Higgins. So I'm going to start drafting him a little bit. For me, there's just a lot of Jaden Higginses, and you could maybe even throw Tet McMillan in this conversation. There's a lot of that style of wide receiver in this draft. Pat Bryant, Jack Besh, Jaden Higgins. There's lots of that type of wide receiver. I was going to go with Jack Besh after that, but that's okay. Let's bring in Mike Gesicki. And then I'm wrapped up at tight end. And then I think we have what, 3 more picks? 3 more picks. And then we're going 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver. That's what we're doing. Terry McLaurin, Emeka Ibuka, Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Strepo, Andre Oshivas, Jaden Higgins. That's an interesting wide receiver room. Andrews, Kraft, Gesicki, Bijan, Breece Hall, Kenny Walker, Jalen Wright. I think this team could work. My mic's going nuts with the feedback. Is it too loud? Let's see if this works. Is that better? Let me know if that's better. It was awesome when Giddens was going in round 18. Yeah. Where's he going now? Let me know if the mic's better. Hopefully it's not going wild. I've been having some weird issues. Not issues with the mic, but the volume seems to be something strange going on with it. It seems really low when I start, so maybe I turned it up too much. Jeez. Turn it down a little more. How's that? Hopefully that works. There's no way to hold people accountable, so I don't even care what others being wrong anymore. They just pay the rake. Yeah. Yeah, I'm more talking about the people with that have a platform. There's some large platforms that's what drives me nuts. Is the large platforms that like you're clearly just like, content kind of baiting almost. You know what I mean? Like that's what drives me nuts. Like clickbaiting, and it was always bad, but it seems like maybe it's a little bit worse with Twitter paying people now. Maybe that's what's changing things and making things different, making things worse. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Is the mic better? Anyone in the chat, is the mic doing better? Not sure what the problem would be here. I don't really change anything in my setup, so hopefully the mic was just too loud because I did turn it up a little bit. And there kind of is a way to keep people accountable. Like I said, what I do is I just bookmark things on Twitter. That's all I do. Bookmark takes. If guys are right, I keep it. If they're wrong, I keep it. And either way, I go through it just to remind myself who's who. It's not really better, but you can hear me okay? What's going on here? Is everyone else finding it weird? Maybe it's your computer, Dark Side. Maybe it's your computer. Someone else wanna chime in and let me know if it sounds terrible for them? I don't know. I haven't really changed anything, so it shouldn't be bad. That's interesting. We'll go Tez. I'll keep taking Tez here. If I can get him for free. Give me Tez. Yeah, Putt Daddy says we're good. Maybe there's something wrong with your speakers or something, man. I don't know. I don't really change anything with my setup. I literally just turn it on and off. So maybe, I don't know. If anyone else is having issues, please let me know. Let me know if there's any issues with the sound. Picking up feedback. Heard feedback twice, but not now. Weird. Interesting. My apologies, guys. Typically, there's like a fuzzy noise. It's dead quiet in here. Dead quiet. Let's bring in Audric, I guess, because I just want to even out my exposures there. And I do like them, obviously. Look at the exposure, but one more running back we'll take. I don't know. Let me know if it gets better. That's it. That's really weird. I don't know It's dead quiet in this room right now. Now everybody's having issues. What the heck's going on here? Let me, I'm going to turn this mic off and turn it back on. All right. Let me know if that's any better. I switched from my headset and left the stream and came back 10 times before I said anything. Jeez. It's gone now? Is it working? I turned it off, blew on my my soundboard, did the old Nintendo reset, and then turned it back on. So hopefully that worked. Let me know if there's any issues, if anyone else have any issues. I don't know why I would. That's a little weird. I don't really change anything with my setup. I literally just turn it all on and we're off to the races. So shouldn't be anything different than there was, 2 days ago, but weird. Very weird. We're going to be running another draft. Hit that like button if you don't mind. We've been gaining some steam on the stream, on the channel. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the likes, all the shares, all the support. It's going a long way. We're up to about 420 subscribers now, which is fun. It's a good number. And we're hitting like all-time likes, all-time viewers on the stream, so I appreciate that. Ricky White, Green Bean bringing in some rookies, Jalen Knoll and Ricky White. I like Ricky White. I'm gonna have to slow down a little bit on Ricky White personally. I'm at like 20% basically. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, the old East West Shrine Bowl MVP, another Arizona Wildcat, actually, for one game. Transferred over and then got hurt after one game, 100 yards and a touchdown, and then MVP at the East West. So, yeah, he looked really good there. Jarquiz Hunter goes. Interesting. I'm definitely taking one more running back. I thought I was the only one drafting Jarquiz Hunter. I'm sure other people are, but I think I have like 20%, which you could say is aggressive, but I really like him. We'll see. That's one reason why I really want to wait on the combine and see who does what at the combine, especially their measurements, what they weigh in at, their height, weight, and 40 time splits, things like that. We'll bring in Bayshall Tootin. Big fan myself, and I'd like to even out my exposure. 25% sounds about right. There's really no one like late. I think the Giants could be fully on board for bringing in a running back. Not only would that hurt Tracy, but also obviously Devin Singletary. Bengals, I think, are live. So there's really no one down here that I'm looking at personally. But there's lots of late round rookies or last round rookies, like even down here, Jarquez, Marshawn Lloyd, Woody Marks, LeQuint Allen, if you like them. Audric Estime, Damian Martinez is starting to rise, but he's still a guy. Let's take a look at a couple of these squads, and then we'll rip another draft. Wanted Jaden Blue, but he was drafted in the 19th. Someone drafted Jaden Blue in the 19th, eh? Wow. That's fine. I mean, do what you want to do, but that's surprising. There he is, yeah. Huh. That's a guy that I do want to watch. Looks like he caught a lot of balls, but it's tough because Quinn Ewers is garbage. This is something that that kind of set me off today was this Quinn Ewers stuff. There's a couple guys that I really like and respect. So, you know, I have guys in my kind of circle that I like and I respect, and they seem to like Quinn Ewers, and I just don't see it at all. I think Quinn Ewers is absolute trash, but that's what made Jaden Blue look a lot better. But yeah, that just drives me crazy. I don't know what if you're in the chat and you're a Quinn Ewers guy, why? You tell me. Go watch the Georgia tape and tell me you like anything that he does. I like Brashard Smith. I don't mind Brashard Smith. He might be the best pass catching back in this entire draft. So we'll see on that. I'd like to see what he weighs in at. I thought he was just a little bit small, which concerns me about pass pro. That's my biggest concern with a lot of rookie running backs. A lot of times, if they're fringe types of guys, or fourth round, third round, fourth round guys, fifth round guys, is their ability to pass block. If they can't, then they're not getting on the field. That's my only concern with Brashard Smith, because even more so because he's more suited to be a third down receiving type of a back. But if he can't pass protect, I don't care how good of a catcher of the football you are, you're not going to get on the field. So that's my only concern with Smith. So I really want to see him at the combine, see what he weighs in at, his height, weight, all that kind of stuff. I don't mind LeQuint. Yeah, he's another guy who could be the best pass catcher in this entire draft. He's right there with him. Those are the 1-2 potentially for me. And Jaden Blue might be, but again, like Quinn Ewers is terrible. I don't personally like Jackson Dart either. Honestly, I don't. This is yes, they're hyping up a new guy every week. Exactly. It's like, again, that's what's just this whole episode might be coming off as me sitting on a soapbox just shitting on everyone, but that's I need to just get off Twitter for a little bit because it's driving me crazy with all of these nonsensical takes that just don't make any sense. Quinn Ewers is horrible. Jackson Dart maybe could be something if he sits for like 2 years. Honestly, for me, none of these quarterbacks can start this year. None of them. My exposures, I'll tell you right now, before we get into that episode, which will come in the next couple of weeks, I'm 0% Shadur Sanders and I will not draft him. I'm 0% Cam Ward and I will not draft him. I'm not drafting any of these rookie quarterbacks. I'm not drafting any of them. None of them. None. There's no reason to this early. Like Jalen Milroe, 0. Like none of them. It doesn't make any sense to draft any of these rookie quarterbacks for me. Like look at Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. That's what we're going to see out of these guys, I think. Like, I don't think any of them are ready to start in the NFL. None of them. And I'm really firm on that. Really firm. I mean, Kyle McCord, I like McCord more than Ewers, that's for sure. I just think his upside is super limited. I think Dart could have more upside than certainly McCord and definitely Ewers. I think, if I were forced to start a running back, if I were forced to start any of these quarterbacks right now, the number 1 would be Will Howard, no question. The number 2 might be Kyle McCord. It'd be pretty close. To start an NFL game right this second, today, on February 19th, if I were to start an NFL game, who would I start? It would be one of those two. I should have taken Penix over Stroud, but felt Stroud would put up more points when I could stop at 2 QBs. Let's take a look. Let's dig into these teams. We'll go over mine quick because it's just different. I wanted to get different, and I like it. I like that I got different. Joe Burrow and Jordan Love definitely can stop at 2. I like that. I wish I got Wicks or Jaden Reed earlier to stack up with Love, but that's okay. Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Kenny Walker, Jalen Wright, Audric Estime, and Bashal Tootin. I'm a big fan of this room, actually. I think that makes a lot of sense. 1 rookie. I'm thinking about making a video out of this, and I might just do that, but you want this year's Kyron Williams? This is it right here. This is it. I'm going to dig into that more in maybe a separate like episode or a live stream where I talk about a few things like that. But the parallels are insanely close between Audric Estime and Kyron Williams, including the college they went to. But anyways, that's another story for another day. I like this room. I like it. It makes sense. Terry McLaurin, Emeka Ibuka, Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Leggett, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Restrepo, Andre Yoshibas, Jaden Higgins, and Tez Johnson. I like this room, and yeah, you could say it's fragile. Yeah, you could say it's weak. I would agree with Leggett and Brown. I'm not super high on there, but there was no one else to realistically pick. Everyone else I like quite a bit. As long as I can just kill it with volume, if I can have these two in my lineup pretty much every week, and then one of these guys picking off likely Kenny Walker, I might have to have these three in my lineup every week. And then Burrow, Love, they can play off each other. My tight ends are fine. Mark Andrews, Kraft, and Gesicki. I like that a lot. I might only need three of these wide receivers to play. But week in, week out, and on a season-long basis, I think I can make that work. I really do. So I don't mind the team. It's different. It's definitely unique. Let's go Toast 0420. Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud. I like Caleb Williams a lot, as you know. Pulled him up a little bit, but I assume you have some Chicago pieces. CJ Stroud. I don't mind that stopping at 2. That's really close. That's really close, but I don't hate it. In BBM season, then yeah, for sure. In 18 rounds, then yeah, no question. Typically, I would probably bring in a third, but I don't mind it at all. David Montgomery, Tyrone Tracy, Zach Charbonnet, Najee Harris, Rashad White, Roshan Johnson, and Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I'm not picking any Merritt personally, but I get it. If you like him, you like him. Roshan pairs with Caleb Williams. I actually really feel like the Bears bring in a running back, and then Swift plays the pass catching role, and then the other running back is more of the kind of workhorse. I think it's Quinshon Judkins. I think that makes the most sense for the Bears. But I get it. If that doesn't happen, then Roshan could definitely have a role here. But I like this right here. Like these 5 are really all you need. That's all you really need, and you're in good shape with those 5. And then these 2 are kind of just dart throws, and you can do whatever you want there. Amon-Ra, Drake London, DJ Moore, Roman Dunze, George Pickens, Quentin Johnston, Dontavion Wicks, Wan'Dale Robinson. This is a really good room. I actually really like that you haven't really brought in any rookies. Krosky Merritt is your only rookie. I actually don't hate that at all. That's another thing that I was doing a fair amount of last year in the big board. I wasn't doing a crazy amount of rookies because I wasn't willing to reach. I just was not. I thought that there was better value in some of the veteran wide receivers, running backs, blah, blah, blah. The only place I was maybe quarterback last year, actually. But this is a very strong room. Very strong room. You have to pull up one of Rome, or if maybe DJ Moore falls, but typically you have to pull up Rome Odunze if you want that double Bears stack. So I don't mind that, and I'm all over the Bears this year, so that makes sense to me. I love me some Drake London, and I think that pick 9, 10 for Amon-Ra is huge value. Dalton Schultz, Tyler Higbee, Theo Johnson. That's obviously I don't need to tell you that. That's a pretty thin tight end squad. Catch and fall down Schultz. Tyler Higbee's got the injury concerns. Plus, they really wanted Brock Bowers last year. I almost won a bunch of money on that because I bet it. I really thought the Rams were going to get Brock Bowers, and sound like all the discourse after the fact sounded like they did really want him and they were going to draft him, but obviously it didn't work out that way. But it is what it is. And then Theo Johnson, I'm not a massive fan of, but you could do worse at the end of drafts. That was your second last pick. So, but obviously that's your fragile spot. You're not going to be strong everywhere, and you're fine everywhere else. So this team can work, and I like it. Double stack, single stack, Houston. Yeah, that's fine. Especially with the tight end. I like that. Green Bean, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix, Again, that's really close to stop it too. Lot of concerns there. Again, BBM season and 18 round draft. Yeah, I do that, especially if you're drafting volume, but I probably add a third again there. I don't mind it though. A little more fragile than Toast's team as far as the quarterback room is concerned, but potentially more upside. Ashton Genty, Trevion Henderson, James Conner, Cam Scatabo, Ray Davis, Antonio Gibson. I like that. That can definitely work. Obviously, it's going to live and die by Ashton Genty. But you can make that bet. A lot of people are making that bet, right? Like he's the hype is getting a little out of control. We'll see if he like gets comfortably into the first round. If he does, then I'll have 100%. I'll have 0% of Ashton Genty if he gets into the first round. And I'll catch up in the regular season, in Best Ball Mania season over the summer. I'll catch up. I'll get my shares there if I have to. But we'll see where he ends up because I think he might get hyped up even more, is what it seems like. But this room's good. Don't mind that. Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, Xavier Worthy, Khalil Shakir, Trey Harris, Jalen Royals, Michael Wilson, Jalen Noel. I like this a lot, actually. Double stack your Arizona there. Single stack Atlanta, but they could definitely bring in one of these rookies. A lot of these, especially Noel and Royals would make a lot of sense for the Falcons for me. I guess I mean, they could draft Trey Harris. I just don't think they would. I think Royals and Noel would make more sense for the Falcons, but we'll see. Jake Ferguson and Harold Fannin. I like this. I probably have a couple of this exact tight end room, actually. Makes tons of sense. I like it. Plays off each other. Yeah, I dig it. Enough rookies too. Didn't go overboard. Quality squad. Pretty sure this is my first Arizona team. I don't have a lot either. I was doing it a little bit more earlier in the season when McBride was going a touch later, and I was drafting a lot of Trey McBride. He was going like at the end of the third, I think, if my memory serves me correctly. So I was getting a fair amount of Trey McBride, and you could even stack up Marvin Harrison with Trey McBride, right? And then bring in Kyler later. So I was doing that a lot more earlier in the cycle. Now that he's getting, kind of pumped up, I've slowed on my shares of Trey McBride. But typically I was just getting McBride and Kyler. So I don't hate that. I my concern for Michael Wilson, mind you, is a 17th round pick. So who really cares as long as he's on the team, which he will be. I think he gets probably replaced one way or another, whether it's through like a slot receiver, again, a Jalen Noel, Jalen Royals, or a big body outside guy like Tet McMillan, maybe Trey Harris. Did you get Trey Harris too? You did. So that could make sense. Just saw you live. Oh, it's all good, man. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Run another. Yes, I am. We're doing one more right after this, right now, basically. We're doing some different things tonight, and we're standing on our soapbox, which I feel like I'm known for. So we're getting into another one. Let's jump in now. Waiting on 5. So there's tons of room. If you're in the chat, you want to draft, jump in. I might get a little freaky. I'm doing different things tonight. We're getting a little unique. I'm getting back to my kind of roots of not caring what anyone thinks about my takes or about my strategy. Back to my roots. Not that I was deviating from it, really, considering look at my exposures, but yeah, we're definitely going to get a little bit unique. So again, I'm the 3, so I'm going to try my hardest to not take CeeDee Lamb, which I'm pretty sure I won't. We got Green Bean in again, and then Ben Haskell. You guys can snipe each other at the back end of the draft. Ben Haskell with the Rudolph nose. I like it. I think that's it. If you're in the draft and you're in the chat, let me know. We can go over your team at the end. So again, I'm not gonna take CeeDee Lamb here. I'm going to take Justin Jefferson because he should be there. We just talked about it a second ago. Maybe more Bijan. I shouldn't have more Bijan than Gibbs, but I do as it sits right now. I know people are kind of fading Gibbs, but I'm not. Again, I'm going to get back to doing a little more zigging where people are zagging on this stuff and stay true to where I'm at. Legio, is that what it is? Paul Southworth, thanks for coming in, man. I think that's the first time I've seen you in the chat. Appreciate you coming in. Let's go. Yeah, let's get our first Justin Jefferson share. Let's start taking them. But thanks for coming in. First time I think I've seen you in the chat there. I'm with you on the don't give a fuck strategy. That's right, man. Please no. Yeah, buddy. JJ at 102. I'm trying to hold 40%. JJ, I'm 0% right now. But again, I talked about it before you came in the chat there, Ben. I can catch up on Justin Jefferson. Easy. No problem. No problem. I can catch up. And that's what I'm going to do, right? He's not moving. I think CeeDee Lamb should, whether he does or not, I think he should move up the board. So I'm trying to gobble up as many shares as I can. But I don't really have to force it anymore, especially with how much exposure I have to CeeDee Lamb. I don't have to force it. So I do want to do a couple things with Justin Jefferson, where maybe I'm pulling him up. I guess I'm not really. That's basically taking him at ADP. So we'll see where it lands. There we go. Ben Haskell, true to what he's saying. Whoops. Don't give a fuck season. Takes Ashton Genty 9th overall. It's not for me. I won't be doing it. Just went on a rant how if he makes it into the first round, I'll have 0% of him. But hey, I could be completely wrong. So go nuts. Absolutely. Stay true to your own takes. Stay true to your word. Do your thing. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, then hey, lesson learned, I guess. Right, I'm catching up on CD, bumped him ahead of Puka and Gibbs. I think he should be ahead of both for sure, especially right now with the, let's say Stafford for some reason, although he will not. Stafford will be on the Rams. He will. It just doesn't make any sense in the world for the Rams. If someone wants to send them a first-round pick, that's not going to happen, so don't particularly worry about it. Maybe it would, but I think they would want more than that. Allegedly, they're saying a first-round pick. I don't think that that's it. Aaron Rodgers got a first-round pick plus. So I really don't think that that's it. I think it's more than that. I think it's just negotiating tactics. And he's going to be on the Rams. But let's say he's not. Where does Puka go? If Sam Darnold is a quarterback, is Puka still going where he's going? He's still valuable and he's still a first-round pick, but I don't think you would take him ahead of CeeDee Lamb. That's for damn sure. My personal opinion on that one. Still, again, 0% on Christian McCaffrey. Again, that's because I can get him wherever. I can get him at any time in the same spot. Not too worried about it. I'll catch up. I will have some shares of Christian McCaffrey before the end of this tournament. I just don't think maybe he gets to the turn, a couple pick ADP jump, but I don't think it'll be a huge concern. Jonathan Taylor for sure is the pick here. I have him ranked ahead of ADP. I haven't even gotten close to finishing my rankings, which I will do. I just haven't had time, number one. Number two, it's really hard in this range to rank these guys. It's a really difficult proposition, I think. It's a really weird spot in the draft. I think it's not like a dead zone. There's tons of talent. It's just how do you rank these guys? And I probably will. I guess I should use my exposures to rank them. But, I'm not pulling up Jaden Daniels, ahead of Chase Brown ADP wise. You know what I mean? Definitely going to be Garrett Wilson here. I think that regardless of how it works out quarterback wise, I think Garrett Wilson goes back to being a massive target hog as basically the only real weapon in that offense. And that's how it should be. He should be a target hog, I think. I never learned my lesson. I'm more of a martingale type. Fair enough. Fair enough, man. As long as again, like we're drafting with our own money here, right? So as long as you can look yourself in the mirror, that's all that matters. That's why I'm getting back to this. I don't get DGAF. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just getting back to my takes and my thoughts. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm prepared to live with that. No one's going to be 100% accurate. That's for sure. That is for sure. But this is already unique because I don't have any Justin Jefferson, and I will not be stacking him up with JJ McCarthy. I just am really not a JJ McCarthy guy at all. At all. I'm not. So I didn't think he was a first round draft pick personally. Obviously, he did go there. I think Daniel Jones stays with the Vikings for sure. I just think that's the only thing that makes sense for him. And then he might get some starts. And that, that's all he can really hope for. If he gets like 4 starts, let's say, with the Vikings and plays well, that's all he really needs to get another shot somewhere else. Get completely healthy too, because he got his ass kicked in New York. Like, he got his ass kicked a lot. So he does need to take some time off, if I'm being honest. I'm sure he'll be healthy, obviously, entering the new year, entering next season. What a start here. Amon-Ra at 12 and Tyreek at 13. I guess that's what happens when someone takes Ashton Genty at the 9. Just kidding, Ben. But that's great. That's a great start. Amon-Ra and Tyreek at the back end. Mind you, can get Amon-Ra and Tyreek. That's no problem. It's just, it should get unique with where he's at. That's an interesting start. We'll keep an eye on that one. Where are we here? Jonathan Taylor, Jefferson, and Garrett Wilson. Might be a good spot to take a Zay Flowers. Yeah, that's who I wanted. Wonderful. Yeah, that's who I wanted, oddly enough, was Zay. Let's do it. Let's mix it in. I want to really try to mix in some Zay Flowers without Lamar Jackson, because I have a good chunk of that. And also Mark Andrews without Lamar Jackson, right? What do we got here in the chat? There are already a few Genty Bowers teams, and much less have Josh and JMO. Sorry, I should have made my pick first. Let's take a look here. See, that's what I mean. This is such a weird spot in the draft. It's such a weird spot. Maybe I take my first Tat McMillan share. Considering the drop, 5 picks, we're what, in the 5th round now? Let's give it a shot. A few Genty Bowers, Josh and JMO. Yeah, no, I dig that. That's a little bit of a fall, I think, for Josh Allen. I was going to potentially take JMO. Yeah, I was looking at JMO right here. I would have taken him with the Justin Jefferson, just NFC North combo. And then you can also bring in Laporta here. So I would have went JMO Laporta and then brought in Goff. That was what I was thinking. And then, I didn't know that was you who took them. So that's fair. Yeah, I don't mind that. It's fun to mix up combos, easy to do towards the end of the tournament, but I'm already near 100 big boards trying to mix it up. Yeah, you gotta mix it up. Like, again, that's why I drafted the way I did with the last draft. You have to very, very intentionally do things differently, or else, like what I think it was Dark Side Dev was saying earlier, you're just going to end up with like 100 of the same draft. And I'm in danger of doing that too. So I need to very, very intentionally, and I can also do that when I don't take Justin Jefferson until now, right? I don't take Justin Jefferson. I don't have a lot of Puka. I don't have a lot of Nico. Not that I specifically really love Nico, but I can do a lot of these different things now, like quite easily. I can bring up Justin Jefferson to the 2, 3, 4, 5. I can take him at 1. Who cares? Like I can take him wherever I want, and then I can get super unique, right? So, yeah. Do you have a cap on how many rookies you take in a given draft? I try not to take more than 3. What's your thoughts, Ben, as well? I mean, I don't really care. It's anyone that says that there's like a sweet number, you have to take this many or whatever. Like 2 years ago, there were 0 rookies in the winner of the big board. Last year, there was 10. Right. So what's the correct number? 5? Like, just as long as it makes sense for your roster build, I think you should have some for sure. I'm just way more likely personally, and my exposures will reflect this. I'm way, way, way more likely to take last round rookies, right? I would almost completely, let's say 90% of the time, if it's a 20th, 18th, 19th, 20th round pick, I'm taking a rookie over a vet, depending on who it is. There's some like, Elijah Moore, there's Darius Slayton, there's some free agent, especially veterans at the end of drafts at the wide receiver position that you can take because the rookies have started to pull up, right? Like let's look at, so like Jack Besh, Savion Williams, Tez Johnson still there. They're starting to move up a little bit. Even Jalen Noel, they're starting to rise up a little bit. And that's kind of where I cut it off, is basically Jalen Noel. I have a ton of Savion, as you can see, a ton of Tez Johnson, ton of Noel, right? And then a little bit of Ricky White, but I need to slow down on that for sure. But at the end of the draft with running back, there's tons, right? Jarquez, I take a lot. Bashal Tootin, I take a lot. If you like LaQuint Allen, he's there. Jordan James is there. Brashard Smith, Damian Martin, right? The list goes on. So my highest exposures will almost definitely be late round running backs. I'll tell you that right now. But I don't think there's a certain number. I think you should, I try to aim for at least like 4, but it depends on the positions too, right? Like, last year, besides Bowers, what were we taking for rookie tight ends? Not a crazy amount. This year, I'm not drafting any of these rookie quarterbacks. Last year, I was drafting almost all of the rookie quarterbacks. I was super high exposed to Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, right? This year, I'm not drafting a single rookie quarterback. So, as long as it makes sense for your build and what you're doing. Wow, Dave Montgomery falls into my lap. I'll just click to that pretty easy. That makes tons of sense. Let's go there. There's no cap, there's no minimum, there's no maximum. It's just like what makes sense for your team, what makes sense for your build. And then like, especially if we're talking about some of these quarterbacks, let's say you get Josh Allen, let's say you get Patrick Mahomes, even Joe Burrow potentially, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, the Chargers, right? These teams that were very confident they're going to draft a wide receiver, then I want to take a few wide receivers. Like, let's say I pair up Patrick Mahomes with Xavier Worthy, give me 3 or 4 rookie wide receivers and just take shots at landing one. I would take Ibuka here, but I actually think it makes more sense to just take Jennings here. Actually, let's take our first share of Chris Godwin. That's a good drop ADP wise. That's a big drop. Has void date extended. That's actually good news. March 12th, that's it. Hey, wow. I thought it'd be later than that. That tells me that they do want to negotiate a deal with him, which would obviously be good for Chris Godwin. I see a bunch of chats. Let's finish up this chat and then we'll get to it, and then we'll keep talking. But that's good news for Chris Godwin returning to the Bucs. If they're extending that void date, that's really good news that they're obviously working on a contract. But again, so it depends on your build. And then, for tight ends, if you, let's say it's Bo Nix, right? You drafted Bo Nix, good chance they might be drafting Tyler Warren, might be drafting Colson Loveland, right? So just make it make sense for your team. That's my min-max. That's my hard firm answer, is that's what you have to focus on. Fourth round Olave. We've talked about Olave. We can get into it if you want. I'm comfortable with more rookies than that. It depends on the build. It just depends on your build, man. I don't want too many rookies on a team with Rashid and Ayuk. That's another thing. Genti rookie, even top 5, that's fair too. Like, if you have some risk, some injury risk, some suspension risk, right? I'm not bringing in rookies at that team. I want high floor veterans that I'm comfortable with what I'm getting out of them, right? So if I'm taking risk early, so like you said, I guess Ayuk, Rashee Rice would be the 2 most obvious. Who else? Maybe Christian McCaffrey, even Josh Jacobs, you could throw in that. Even Saquon, you could throw in that for risk. T. Higgins for sure, right? There's all kinds of guys like that. Even Mike Evans at his age. There's all kinds of guys where it's like, okay, I have a few of these. There's something that could go wrong, right? Therefore, I want to take a higher floor, more of a guarantee, because I know what they are after 1, 2, 3 seasons in the NFL, right? As opposed to taking someone that's never played in the league, right? Regardless of what anybody says, none of these rookies have played in the NFL. They have not played in the men's league. They have not played, against grown-ass men. Like it's a very, 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 very different game, right? So, it's and it's not an easy transition. It's really, really not. We're gonna go with Bo Nix here. Kind of fell into my lap, so I'll take Bo Nix. It's pretty high on Bo Nix. Let's do that. Let's do that. This is going to be a different team, I think. I'm going to get a little freaky, I feel like. But we'll see. I like this start at running back. I think this gives me some flexibility, actually. It might not seem like it, but I think it does. I think it does. Where are we at in the chat here? I'm catching up. We're having a good chat here. This is good. As long as I have a solid week 1 through 4 lineup of vets, I don't have a cap on rookies. I'm going to try Tyler Warren here. Jaylen Warren's at the top of the list. Man, that's a lot of value on Jaylen Warren that I can't pass up, if I'm being honest. That's 14 picks. Give me Jaylen Warren. Tyler Warren would have made some sense to pair up with Bo Nix, like literally exactly what we're talking about right now, but that's just too much value on Jaylen Warren to pass up. As long as I have a solid week 1 through 4 lineup of vets, I don't have a cap on rookies. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I get that. Like literally NFL weeks 1 through 4. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean by that entirely, but it's okay to dupe yourself, and you could theoretically draft 150 exact dupes and only get 1 to the finals. That's true too. Pod luck, right? Things can go haywire a little bit, but you might go over 150 in advancing too. So 14 of my 17 of my top RB exposures are rookies. Yeah, man, mine are going to be very, very high. I like this rookie class a lot. So Trevion Henderson, I don't want to show my exposures because that'll be the next show or in a couple shows, something like that. So stuff that we have coming down the grapevine, as far as show topics, we're going to do an exposure reveal for sure. I'm going to show all my exposures, certain tournaments, whatever. We can break it up however we want. I mean, you see it on screen, but when you see it in the different, when I actually show it on screen, it'll look a little different. So we can kind of explore that. And then the rookie rankings, we're going to bring that up after the combine because I do want to wait until the combine to get the final bit of information. before finalizing my rankings, and I have a little bit of tape to watch. So yeah, I'm right there with you. But yeah, Diggs, Cup, Chubb, yeah, those guys all make sense. Just random, yeah, 100%. That's what we were talking about earlier. Actually, I have a few bigger teams where I hit on the worthy to Chiefs prediction is one of my favorite probable landing spots. There you go. That's what you got to. That's one thing. I showed my spreadsheet. Was it last episode, something like that, where I have a bunch of landing spots. And, as long as it makes sense, I might get one or two right, but that might be all I need, right? Is just to get one or two of them right where they land and I am drafting that way. I am. And we might see in this draft that we're doing right now that I might show you something that I'm doing and no one else is. I guarantee it. Like he has non-injured vets that aren't handcuffs that can fill lineup while rookies get heating up. Yeah. Okay. I get you. Yeah. So you're comfortable with the early season. Yeah. And then guys will come on later for sure. Absolutely. That's always the plan and the goal is for your rookies to come on late in the season. Right. So yeah, you got to get there. So I get what you're saying. You got to advance your team out of your pod. And then hopefully in the fantasy playoffs and the best ball playoffs, they start to take over and help you kind of win a championship. Slowly. Yeah. We'll get into that chat in a second, but yeah, I definitely do agree with that. Where are we here? I mean, again, I will 100% be your Huckleberry, man. I will be the Huckleberry. I'll be 50% Pacheco if I can get him this late in drafts. Keep pushing them, and I'll keep taking them. It's crazy. That's a little disrespectful for Isaiah Pacheco, who's pretty much going to be the only running back on this team. They don't have the assets to throw anything at running back. So, yeah, he's going to have a role for this team. And he has to play well if he wants another contract, which I'm sure he does. And then we'll take I don't think I want to go with another quarterback here. Running back doesn't make a ton of sense. Tight end, I think I'm going to have to be at least 3 tight ends on this squad pretty well for sure, which is fine. It's going to be Marvin Mims, makes sense, with my Bo Nix. Let's do that. Yes, unless it's a round 1 draft capital rookie. I assume the rookie brought along slowly. And there's for late season best ball playoffs. I don't want to rely on rookie scores early on. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I get what you're saying now. My apologies. But yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah. That's also why you take some of these like late round, higher floor veteran wide receivers, tight ends, whatever, Mike Gesicki, Wan'Dale Robinson, right? Those types of guys where you might feel a little fragile early. And then you can bring in even like Antonio Gibson for running back. Let's go with a few different positions, right? Where you have what you think is a veteran that's going to get you points. Like Antonio Gibson, how's he going to do any worse than what he's been doing, right? He's should be right around 100 points, but he has, some outs as well. So yeah, 100% agree with that. 0% Pacheco going. Yeah, a lot of people do, man. A lot of people. You're not alone, but I'll be the Huckleberry, man. Maybe cooked. He's still like, what is he, 25? Like, he had a broken leg. He was playing on a broken leg last year. Like, that's a similar injury to what Tony Pollard had, and he had an off year, obviously. Like, I'm most people are like, this is again, I'll be the Huckleberry, man. I'll zig when everyone else is zagging on this. If it kills me, it won't kill me because it's not enough of a, it's if he was like 3rd round Pacheco like he was last year, yeah, that hurt a lot of people, obviously. But coming into the season, man, look at his first game. His first game, he was fantastic. Had like 60 yards and a touchdown. I shouldn't say fantastic, but he was very good. And they don't have the assets to throw anything at running back. So he's going to be on this team. He's under contract. He will be there. It's a Chiefs running back. Like I'm going to keep gobbling up the shares, man. If no, everyone's going to push them into the hundreds, like pick 118. Yeah, I'll be your Huckleberry, man. I've only got some Pacheco auto shares, maybe once or twice. Yeah, they would fall if you're auto picking. Then you would have a lot of Pacheco. Late Pacheco, I ain't scared. Me neither, man. I'll take him. Like that's fair. If you don't think he's good, then that's fair. But like he doesn't have to be good to get touches on that team. He really doesn't. He just needs to have a pulse, man. Like, which last I checked, he does, right? Like, should be all right. Should be. This is a weird draft as far as what I'm going to do at quarterback and tight end, but I'm very comfortable with my running back and wide receiver rooms. Plus, this is a fantastic running back room to take Isaiah Pacheco. Like, I got ADP value on every single one of my running backs and an absurd amount on Jalen Warren and Isaiah Pacheco. Even on Montgomery, that's a good chunk of ADP value. I'm going to bring in Colston Loveland here. Get a little more exposure. This is going to be a weird quarterback room. I'm probably going to have to stop at 5 running backs, which means I might take one right now. And then I'm done at running back. I have to give myself some quarterback and tight end flexibility in this draft. I think I have to take 8 wide receivers, which I should be okay with, and I could wait till the end of the draft on that. I might have taken Bryce Young, but he's gone. Let's get some. I mean, I don't mind Jalen Wright here, but I don't think I'm going to bring him up again. I'm going to bring in Trey Benson here and be done at running back. Pretty much for sure, unless something crazy happens. Pretty much for sure. Mark Wise might be the first time I've seen in the chat. Thanks for coming out. KC line made Hunt relevant. I think Pacheco late is okay. Yeah, man. Again, he's got a pulse. They have a lot of holes to fill, man. They're going to bring in somebody in the draft. Yeah, don't get me wrong. But like what round rookie is going to like provide that kind of competition to a running back that like whether we like Isaiah Pacheco or not, I'm very confident that the franchise likes Isaiah Pacheco. I'm very confident that the coaching staff, the other players on that team like Isaiah Pacheco. Very confident in that. And that's all that matters to me. Like, you know, I don't see, I understand the hate, but again, if guys are going to push Pacheco to, where did I get him again? The 10th. If guys are going to push him to the late 9th, 10th round, I'll be that fucking Huckleberry, man. I'll have 50% Pacheco if I'm getting him at 118, right? Like I just like, it doesn't make sense. Like we make these like types of concessions for other guys. Like look at Travis Etienne. Why is Travis Etienne a better pick than Isaiah Pacheco? He's not more talented. I don't care. You cannot convince me. I was 0% Travis Etienne last year. 0%. Really, really worked out for me, for sure. And I think it's going to be similar this year. I like Tank Bigsby over Travis Etienne personally. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. What's the difference between Isaiah Pacheco and Brian Robinson with Austin Eckler still there? We know what Brian Robinson's ceiling is. We know it. We've seen it for multiple years. So what changes in that regard, right? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You don't think he's better than Etienne? I mean, that's fine. I just don't think there's any difference. I don't think there's much difference. Like, we know what Etienne is. And he's been just driven into the ground. Torn Achilles guy. Had way too many college carries, way too many. That's always my concern with college players is how many carries did they have? He had way too many, spent an extra year in college for no good reason, had however many carries and touches so far in the NFL, torn Achilles guy, shown he's not efficient. Like, I don't know. Again, I could be completely wrong. So maybe I am, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. We will see on that one. I guess I bring in Sam Darnold. Ugh. Yuck. I guess I bring in Sam Darnold here. 1% Robinson. Brian Robinson, yeah. That's fine. I mean, I'm at like 4 or 5%. I don't mind him, but there's no way I'm taking Brian Robinson over Najee. Like, I'm okay with the range he's going. He's just going a few picks too high, especially over some of the guys that are going around him. He's going too high, in my opinion. Let's do Cole Kmet. Makes the most sense here. Definitely makes the most sense. Pacheco over Najee. No. Did I didn't do that. No. Okay. No. So I take Najee over Brian Robinson. I take him obviously over Pacheco. I take Najee over Etienne. I take Najee over Ramondre. Najee over Charbonnet. And I like Charbonnet quite a bit. I like anyone in the Kubiak running system. Give me Charbonnet, but he's still like the 1A, 1B, not the starter kind of a guy. Najee could go somewhere and definitely be that guy. He could go to like Denver and be the, power back, completely replace Audric Estime, who I have too much of personally, but he could go somewhere like that. He could go to Najee's live to go to the Giants maybe with the Brian Dable, coached him at Alabama connection. It's possible there. They just figured out what it's like to not have a running back that's, very good. I don't mind Tracy, don't get me wrong, but he's going way too early. He's going way too soon in these drafts, in my opinion. 72nd, 6th round Tyrone Tracy, not a chance for me. So yeah, I'm taking all those guys over Pacheco for sure, but he's falling way too far. Way too far. Give me Najee over J.K. Dobbins for sure. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in drafts. Etienne is nostalgic to me. Yeah, fair enough. His run at Clemson with T-Law was legendary. Yeah, he stayed 1 year too long, though. Definitely. KC could sign Najee. I don't think they'll have the money unless maybe if Kelsey retires, that'll clear some things up. We'll see what they do with Trey Smith. Chances are they're going to transition tag him, which really means nothing. Just gives them the first right to match any contract offer, which I doubt they'll have the money to match. So really a transition tag means nothing. But I get the reason why they would want to do it. Yeah. Oh, we're in an interesting spot. Wandale could work. There's a couple guys here. I have too much Najee, but I keep telling myself that he's always at 300 touches, doesn't miss games, is going to be going on team. Yeah, 100%. He's going to be on the field. Like the dude is massive. He's Derrick Henry big. Like he's a big guy. He's going to be on the field. Maybe he goes back to the Steelers. That's on the table. There's lots of landing spots. Like I said, Denver, I think the Giants, the Vikings could potentially be a landing spot if they just want that like big bruiser type of a guy. I would have taken Jack Bech there. I'm really trying to just pile on the shares of Jack Bech before the combine personally. Let's go JT Sanders. I think Jatavion Sanders is due for a quality year. That might be able to wrap up my tight end room. We'll see. Yeah, that makes some sense. I should be okay. Ben, as a KC fan, I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, it'll be close if they could afford him. I wish I'd been taking more earlier. He kept going for ADP, but I'm loading up on Najee, I think. Yeah, they're definitely going to keep Warren. He's a restricted free agent. So he is a free agent, but he's restricted. So they'll definitely get something done with Jaylen Warren. And then I think bring in a rookie. I think a quality rookie for there would be Ollie Gordon. I think Ollie Gordon makes lots of sense for the Steelers, personally. Ollie Gordon took over at Oklahoma State for Jaylen Warren. Or after Jaylen Warren, whatever you want to say. Do I take Tez Johnson here? Probably. I'm higher on Tez than most. I'm almost 50%. That will fall, but I'm happy with it right now. The Steelers didn't pick up Najee's option. Yeah, that's pretty clear. There would be some chatter about tagging him at least, but there's nothing. There's been no chatter. So it sounds like he's gone for sure. So yeah, I like Ollie Gordon and Jaylen Warren. I think it's a wash between Ollie Gordon and Najee Harris personally. Pretty close, anyways. And they're similar in a lot of ways. One of my comps, or a kind of comp for Ollie Gordon for me, is Le'Veon Bell. So there you go. Which is why I think is steal for where you got him. Yeah. I couldn't pass up on Najee there, or on Jaylen Warren there. It would have made more sense for me to take Tyler Warren. I mean, I got Colston Loveland, so that's all right, but it just doesn't make sense. Bro, Ollie on the Steelers could be filthy. Yeah, I think that's where it makes the most sense, because he could be, third round guy. I don't think the Steelers are going to draft a running back super early in this class. It's a really good class. Obviously, we all know that. So I think that makes a lot of sense. A big body guy like that, that's what they need. They just need to replace Najee, and that, I think, accomplishes that, in my opinion. I keep wish casting Najee to Washington as a Derrick Henry type to Jaden's Lamar. B-Rob and Eckler are both short money and had trouble punching in the goal line. Don't disagree with that at all. Like, that's why I'm taking Najee over Brian Robinson every single time. I think that could make some sense. The Commanders have a ton of flexibility with what they can do. I don't think it makes sense to spend the money on Najee, though, to Washington. Like, with more firepower in, at their wide receiver positions, then I think that could open things up for the goal line, right? Like, if they had Cooper Kupp, let's say, I don't actually particularly like Cooper Kupp to Washington personally, but that's a lot of chatter right now, and I get it. It makes sense. It would make sense, but I don't know if that happens or not. But if they had, say, a Cooper Kupp and Terry McLaurin, and then either, Luke McCaffrey takes another step forward in the slot, or they bring in like a Trey Harris on the outside or something like that, Trey Harris, Cooper Kupp, McLaurin, right, with Zach Ertz, like that could open up a lot of things up the middle for their running backs for Brian Robinson. So, yeah, I don't think it would make sense to spend the money at running back with what how they're built and where they are and how close they already are. They need to upgrade that offensive line a little bit. Obviously, the defense needs a lot of work, especially on the back end. Marshawn Lattimore just ain't it, man. Like, he's lost a step. He's He's kind of done, in my opinion. And we saw that in the playoffs. He was getting cooked left, right, and center. So they definitely need some help on their defense. Obviously, they're Bobby Wagner's aging. We'll see where he's at. Up the middle's getting a little. At one point, their four strong was one of the best in the NFL, and now it's probably not. We are going to do something that I was planning on doing the whole time here. And it's something that no one else is doing. And I'm buying in hard and fast. And we'll talk about this take in a second after I make my next pick. So we're going with Kirk Cousins here. And I'll explain why in a second. And then we're basically going to finish out at wide receiver, 2 more wide receivers. Yeah, that's what it's got to be. Maybe I can get away with 8. But then where do I make my last pick? So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to take a wide receiver here. I could bring in Troy Franklin, I suppose, but I really don't think I need to. Yeah, I really don't think I need to. And there he goes anyways, which is fine. Let's just make it easy on ourselves. And I guess this could be a potential spot if something should happen. Let's bring in Elijah Moore. So we're going to go over a couple things right here. First thing, Elijah Moore, I think, goes to the LA Rams. Why? Mike LaFleur was the OC in New York with the Jets when he was drafted as a rookie, had his best season of his career, arguably. Even though I don't know if you could really argue that. I think he had the best season of his career as a rookie right here. Definitely, yards wise, he had a little more there, but the most touchdowns, 6 total touchdowns. That's the most than all his other years combined, right? Double, right? Most fantasy points. He had a career year, his best year as a rookie, right? In what offense? Mike LaFleur's offense. He's now with the Rams. I think it makes a lot of sense. He's going into his 5th year and he's only 24 years old. That's crazy. I'm going to be packing my bags full of Elijah Moore. Outside of T. Higgins, I think he's the most valuable free agent wide receiver until, yes, Devontae Adams becomes available, which he will. Cooper Kupp probably, which he probably will, right? But as it sits right this second, outside of T. Higgins, and you could say T. Higgins isn't either because they're definitely going to transition tag or they're going to franchise tag him, which is another interesting conversation that we can get into another time. We've talked about the Bengals and T. Higgins enough on this channel, but that's what I think. I think Elijah Moore goes to the Rams. And then if anything should happen to Matthew Stafford, I think Sam Darnold probably goes to the Rams. I think that makes the most sense. He's a USC guy. I think he's smart enough that he could go into that Sean McVay offense and pick it up and be able to run it and execute relatively well. So that's kind of an outside shot at having a stack there. And why I went with Kirk Cousins is because of Garrett Wilson. I've talked about this a lot. I think that that's where he goes. A couple reasons why. So coming over to the Jets, obviously Aaron Glenn, he's seen Kirk Cousins twice a year for a couple of years, only 2 years, 2021, 2022. He saw Kirk Cousins 4 times in those 2 seasons. They went 2-2 against each other. He had, what was it? 1,300 yards exactly. And I think it was 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, I believe. I have the numbers somewhere. So that makes sense there. The other reason, the bigger reason why, Rick Spielman, former general manager of the Minnesota Vikings, who signed who? Kirk Cousins, right? And now he's the senior player personnel, something like that with the Jets. And it'll cost them maybe a 6th-round pick, maybe a fifth, 6th-round pick for the Jets to trade for Kirk Cousins. That just is, I don't know why not as many people are talking about it. Maybe someone with a bigger platform, once it comes out, then it'll blow up. But you heard it here first. So remember that. You heard it here first. Kirk Cousins to the Jets. and then they draft Jackson Dart is my prediction. Another guy I'm going to get a little freaky with in this one. No, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's go Calvin Austin. So that's what I think happens with the Jets and Kirk Cousins. Just makes the most sense. Post June 1. And then they draft, and then like I said, they draft Jackson Dart either early second round. Maybe they trade back into the back end of the first if they have to, if they like him enough. Rick Spielman was again, speaking ad nauseum about Jackson Dart, how he thinks he's like the next guy after Shedeur and Cam Ward. He thinks he's kind of number 3. So yeah, that makes sense, but he's certainly not ready to start in the NFL right now. And I don't think the Jets are as far away as people think. And they'll have a ton of cap space once this Aaron Rodgers thing clears up, once Devontae Adams is cut from the team, once Allen Lazard is cut from the team. They'll free up like 40, 50 plus $1 million, plus the salary cap goes up. They can sign a bunch of the defensive players. Offensive line looks better. So Kirk Cousins to Garrett Wilson, sign me up. Yeah, this is definitely a way different. So we got really unique tonight with our builds, which I am very happy to do. Very happy to do. First share of Chris Godwin, first share of Ted McMillan, first share of Justin Jefferson, super late Pacheco. One of my first shares at Kirk Cousins. I've done this once already. I did it earlier today. So this is my second time doing this pairing with Kirk Cousins, Garrett Wilson. Definitely unique. Huge amount of value on Warren. Huge amount of value on Pacheco. Literally every running back pick I got ADP value on. Not a ton. 4 picks, 3 picks, 4 picks, 7 picks, 14 picks, more like 13, but you get it. And then 1 million picks on Pacheco. So Bo Nix pairs up with Marvin Mims. Geez. Sam Darnold, potential backdoor to the Rams. Kirk Cousins with the Jets. This is pretty fragile regardless. Obviously, I'm banking highly on Bo Nix being the guy. Sam Darnold's got to land. Rams, Titans are the two that would make the most sense realistically for that. Kirk Cousins to the Jets is really all that makes sense to me. Maybe you could sell him to the Raiders. Could make some sense too. And then they draft a quarterback because you can get out of this contract in literally one season. So one season, you can cut Kirk Cousins and be done with him. If you don't like him, don't like what he did, whatever. Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery, Jalen Warren, Isaiah Pacheco, Trey Benson. I like this team, actually. Obviously, super fragile at quarterback. I knew that. I kind of planned it. I got a massive amount of value on Bo Nix, too. That's fun. Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Ted McMillan, Chris Godwin, Marvin Mims, Tez Johnson, Elijah Moore, Calvin Austin. I'd rather another rookie here, but it is what it is. I kind of just panic picked Calvin Austin, if I'm being honest. I was yammering on about some other nonsense. I don't want to be much higher on Nick Nash than where I'm at. And it was going to be Devontae Walker, who I like a little bit. But I have Zay, so I didn't want to go down that road once I saw the green. So if you don't have a draft overlay, best ball overlay, that's the one Pat runs. So that's a good one. I use Spike Week. There's legendary upside or leg up or whatever, even though I really don't like that tool because it tells you who to draft or whatever. But either way, it's worth its weight, having some sort of overlay. But yeah, I don't mind it. Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet, and Jatavian Sanders. I think that tight end room works. So for me, yeah, my only weakness is quarterback, which is not necessarily where you want to be weak at, but I don't mind it. Let's hit the chat, then we'll rip through a couple more teams. I don't often take 10 wide receivers, but y'all ate them up. Yeah, usually they do on these streamed, on any streamed, draft or live draft. Typically wide receivers get pushed up. So that's not shocking. That value stacks, baby. You never know. Could you see? No, I couldn't see Cousins in Cleveland. There's no way in the world that happens because of the cost. They can't afford him. They can't afford another contract. The only thing that makes sense to me in Cleveland, honestly, I'm drafting Travis Hunter. I'm not drafting a quarterback. I'm drafting Travis Hunter. And then what makes the most sense to me in Cleveland is Mac Jones, Trey Lance, maybe Justin Fields, but I think even Justin Fields is going to be too expensive. For me, it's Mac Jones, Trey Lance. See if maybe one of those two could still be your franchise quarterback. You know, number 3 overall pick, number 15 overall pick, both former first rounders, both still young enough that they could get it done, but both cheap. That's the biggest thing. They're in like, I don't need to tell you or anyone else in this streamer in this chat, like, Deshaun Watson's contract kills them, absolutely destroys their cap. So yeah, they can't afford anyone like Kirk Cousins or a Sam Darnold. And it's not a kick it down the road type of a thing. Like, a lot of times you can have some flexibility if you have a good owner, especially NGM, but more owner. You have to have an owner that's willing to cut a check, like turn some salary into signing bonus. And here's a check for $40 million, sir, Joe Burrow, hopefully. And then, you know, Dallas Cowboys, same thing. Like, Jerry Jones needs to get that pen ready. Any owner can do it. And that's another thing why I think Matt Stafford stays on the Rams for sure, because their owner has shown in the past that he will do that. He'll cut a check for millions of dollars, quite literally 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars. Here you go, sir. Here's a lot. Like, the owner has to be willing to do that. And if they are, then they can clear up a lot of cap space. They'll have to pay for it down the road. But when you're in a window like the Rams are right now for another couple of years, this year, coming year for sure, and where the Bengals are right now, the Cowboys, you know, if you're in that window where you want to win a Super Bowl and you have the flexibility and you know you have your quarterback, right? Whether you like Dak or not, he's the guy and he's going to be the guy. So get your pen ready, dip it in that ink, write a friggin' massive check for $40 million and hand it to your quarterback, free up some cap space. That's what needs to happen. So they can't do that in Cleveland. And they can't afford that Kirk Cousins contract. The Jets can, once they cut all that dead weight with all those wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Lazard, right? Aaron Rodgers, we've already heard about. We already know about that one. So they can stomach that contract, especially only for 1 year, when they can get rid of them after this season. So we'll see how that works out. So no, I mean, I'm sure Cleveland would love him, but that can't work financially. Like, again, this is what I was ramming on about earlier in the first draft, right? Are these things possible? So the stuff on Twitter is driving me absolutely crazy when this is just not possible. Kirk Cousins cannot go to Cleveland. It just does not work financially. It does not work. Thanks, man. I mean, it's a weird squad, but I actually do like it a lot. So let's look at everyone else's teams here. Legio. Legion. Is that what are we getting at? That's a cool name, actually. I like it. Jaden Daniels, Cam Ward. Love Jaden Daniels. I don't like Cam Ward at all, but I shouldn't say I don't like him at all. I just don't think he's ready to start in the NFL this year. I don't think anyone is. I'll say it now. I said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it a million times over. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are ready to start in the NFL. None of them, including Cam Ward. But I like Jaden Daniels a lot, and this could work if I'm wrong on that. I just don't think I am. I really, really don't. I'm drafting none of him, but I probably would have brought in a third if you're doing that. I don't hate you bringing him in, but I probably would have brought in a third quarterback personally. Derrick Henry, Chuba got some value, so that makes it a little more okay for me. I'm not a big Chuba drafter this year at this price. Last year, I was one of the highest exposed Chuba drafters in the world, for sure. Massive Chuba drafter when he was going, 180. I got him in the 200s last year. It's crazy. But I'm okay at the little ADP drop there, almost a full round, or almost 10 picks, so close to a full round. I don't mind that. Derrick Henry, Quinshon Judkins, I like a lot. Aaron Jones is a tough one. Probably goes back to the Vikings, but if he doesn't, that concerns me. DeAndre Swift, that's an interesting one too. That's one that I could be completely wrong on. But I think Quinshon Judkins is going to go to the Bears, which would actually make this work more. But either way, you have Derrick Henry at the top, and that frees you up for a lot of things. When you have a Derrick Henry, last year, this year, you have a Barkley last year, you have a Bijan, right? It frees you up to do a lot of different things at the running back position. So this can definitely work. Puka, Mike Evans, Emeka Ibuka, Travis Hunter, Xavier Legette, Jalen Royals, Gabe Davis, Darius Slayton, Ricky White, Trey Tucker. I like it. I probably would have added another quarterback for sure and taken away from this room. Hunter's interesting. I would like him a lot more if he were just playing wide receiver. I think the transition would be easier to wide receiver personally. But I don't mind it, especially when you have this many, but I still would have taken another quarterback somewhere. Definitely right here, probably in the Gabe Davis spot. Emeka Ibuka is my number one wide receiver, so I like that. I like Legette, but depends on the build, and this one's okay. I like Royals. Pulled up Gabe Davis quite a bit. They're paying him a lot of money. I just think he's terrible. And if there's a lot of chatter that he could be like Ted McMillan, could be a Jag, stuff like that. The Jags are an interesting one this year. This can definitely work. I like your top three, that's for sure. So that could work. Likely Ertz, Gesicki. I like Gesicki a lot. I think he comes back to my Bengals. I like Ertz with Jane Daniels because he goes back to the Commanders. I wouldn't have minded Luke McCaffrey on this squad. There's two wide receivers under contract with the Commanders currently, and one of them is Luke McCaffrey. So he's going to be on this team. He could be the starting slot receiver pretty close to for sure. I have a little bit going on there. And then pair him with Zach Ertz. I wouldn't mind that. And Cam Ward goes to the Raiders, I guess, in this one. That would actually be not a bad fit with Chip Kelly, but don't mind the squad. It can work. It can definitely work off each other. Green Bean, let's check out what you did here. Hurts, Love, and Stroud. Probably would have stopped at 2 with Hurts and Love. But you got some value on Stroud, and I'm going to assume you have some Houston maybe. Yeah, there you go. I don't mind. This is very good. You'll have lots of flexibility in the finals, so that's what you're playing for there. Don't mind that. Chase Brown, Omarion Hampton, Zach Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby, DJ Giddens, Woody Marks, and Will Shipley. I like this. That can work. I'm higher on Tank than most, so I like Tank there. I like Charbonnet for sure. It's just a weird spot that he's going. Omarion Hampton I like. Chase I like. Yeah, this all works. I dig it. Shipley pairs with Hurts a little bit. He's definitely the running back too with the Eagles now with Gainwell likely not coming back. Nico Collins pairs with the quarterback. AJ Brown pairs with the quarterback. Jaden Reed pairs with the quarterback. Jaden McMillan, Darnell Mooney, Xavier Restrepo, Jaden Higgins. I like this room quite a bit. Yep. Not a big Mooney guy myself, but this all works for sure. Jake Ferguson, Chig, and Mason Taylor. Yeah, this is a quality squad. 3773. Yeah, you kind of needed it at running back, I suppose. Yeah, I like it. Quality squad. Makes sense. Let's go Ben's team. And if anyone else is in the chat and wants the review, just let me know. We'll take a look at it. It's okay. I hate my team too. I didn't want to be rude, but I don't love the team. If I'm being honest, I didn't really love the team. There's just like too many reaches at wide receiver here. Especially Gabe Davis. I really like Ricky White, and I like Trey Tucker in Chip Kelly's offense. I like that. It's just a matter of who the quarterback's going to be. Although it may not matter really. Like he's going to be a low ADOT guy, and then just get the ball in his hands. I think this year in Chip Kelly's offense, that's what I think is going to happen there. But we'll see. Let's pull up Ben's, and then we'll get everybody out of here. Hit that like button for me if you don't mind, guys. We're going to be drafting again, not tomorrow, because if we're watching a fun hockey game, it's going to be awesome. And then we'll be back on Friday evening doing a quick stream. Josh Allen, Jared Goff, love it. Works. Stop at 2. Overkill if you draft another. I like that. Ashton Genty, Pollard, Najee Harris, Jerome Ford, Tyler Algier, Austin Eckler. I like that. I think Eckler, wow, you got huge ADP. I think he's fine. Like, no, he's going to be one of those names that no one wants to click, but he's going to be on the team. He's going to have a role. As long as Anthony Lynn's still there, which he is, Austin Eckler can get the job done. I think he's underrated. There's a lot of value, especially if you get him at 200. Value on Algier, which is huge. That's really nice. Jerome Ford's going to at least be on the team and have a role. I think someone else comes in for sure to compete with him, obviously, but who's it going to be? Is he just going to be that good? He's really good as a rookie, but took a bit of a step back last year, but everybody on that team did. But this is all good. I like it. It can all work. Makes sense. Jameson Williams, pairs, Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk, Keon Coleman, Jalen Coker, Jalen Knoll, Curtis Samuel, and Khalif Raymond. I don't know if Khalif will be on this squad. I'm not sure what his contract looks like. I'd have to dig into that if I'm being honest, but I'm not sure if he's on this squad. Brock Bowers, Travis Kelce at pick 150. Sure. Harold Fannin. Yeah, it wouldn't be a Ben Haskell draft if you didn't have Harold Fannin on the team. At least you didn't have to reach too much for him, hey? But Jameson Williams and Khalif Raymond pairs up. I like the Curtis Samuel click. He will be on this team. He will be a Buffalo Bill for sure. So I don't mind that. Keon Coleman, I think, could take a step forward. Brock Bowers is really all you need. And then Kelce, if he plays. The interesting thing about Kelce is he might say, oh, yeah, I'm retiring, and then come out of retirement, late in the season. That could definitely be something that happens with Travis Kelce. I would rather he just says he's retiring, and then he falls to like the 20th round, and then I'll take him. I'll take Travis Kelce in the 20th round in these drafts just because of that out of the potential of him coming out of retirement late in the Chiefs season to try to make another Super Bowl run, which could happen. You never know. So I might do that. And it won't be a lot of shares. It might be like, I have 0% right now, but if he's the 20th round pick, I might take like 5% just to try it out. But Brock Bowers is all you really need, and Harold Fannin could be good there. So this is a quality squad for sure. I like this squad a lot. Makes a lot of sense. So, let's get out of here. Fun drafts. Thanks, Green Bean. Yeah, thanks for coming out, man. Those were good ones. It's definitely different. Definitely got unique tonight. That's for sure. So I like what I did. I like what everybody else did. That was definitely a fun draft night. I was definitely on my soapbox a little bit, getting some Twitter hate, some stuff off my chest. So thanks for sticking it out with me on that stuff, guys. Yeah, I'm very light on Eckler, 2%. Don't mind scooping late. Yeah, me too. I definitely want to get a little more Eckler over some of these rookies that I have super ton of exposure on. I don't think he moves up too much. So Friel was comfortable with 2 tight end, but couldn't pass on Fan in the 80s. Yeah, no doubt. The 180s. Light on Kelce, 150s for now. I won't pick him until he's a 20th round pick. And then, yeah, you never know the crazy come out of retirement sort of thing. But yeah, thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate it. Couple drafts tonight. We're just drafting. We're going to get into some other stuff. I'm not sure what we'll do on Friday. Maybe I'll just draft again as we prepare for the combine. After the combine, I'll show my my rankings, go through all of that, give my reasoning why. Hopefully I have some more landing spots. I definitely want to keep chewing into that and go over it, give you some reasoning on why I'm thinking certain players will go to certain places. So yeah, hit that like and subscribe button for me if you're new to the channel. Really helps out. I appreciate it. And like we always say on Off the Schneid, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Hopefully tonight I was right. We'll see. Have yourselves a great night. Enjoy the hockey game.